Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Victor, and welcome to my YouTube channel, which is all about helping people navigate their spiritual awakening process. And one of the very stifling and quite surprisingly to myself common symptoms that I'm seeing from so many people and their messages to me is their hardcore addictions. And they wonder, God, they know they got to get rid of these addictions because they're holding them back. And it's like causing chaos in their life. They want to know. They email me just with desperation, like, how do I stop, man? I've stopped. I tell them I stopped, which I have. I've quit heroin, smoking cigarettes, over a decade ago. I've conquered it. It's squashed. I never even think about it unless I bring it up in these videos, quite honestly. It's not even a thought. I don't go to the AA meetings. I don't do any of that shit. I'm talking overcome it permanently. They want to know how. And they're worried that if they don't soon, it's going to get bad for them. So I'm going to talk about how to stop and how to stay stopped, okay? From my own perspective. This might differ from what you're going to hear at like a drug treatment center that talks about the 12-step program. It's much different than that, okay? So how to stop. Initially, stopping is incredibly hard. You just have to fucking suck it up and white knuckle it. There is no easy way. There is no trick to stop. You just have to stop, okay? And you have to expect it not to go easily. You have to expect the cravings to be like palpable. And you're just like holding on to your couch, shaking. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. No, and you can probably reflect on your own past if you've ever quit for any length of time, that gets easier, okay? Just know the cravings will come, especially, this is very noticeable when I smoke cigarettes. It really is kind of just about just sucking it up and white knuckling it. For those of you who have like slightly less consequential addictions, like smoking cigarettes, opposed to like being a meth addict or something. It's the cravings came hard and frequently. You don't go a few seconds without having, oh, I normally have a smoke after I eat. Oh, I just woke up. It's before bed. I woke up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep. All these different triggers. My buddies come over. Oh, that's really hard. Go out with your friends and try not smoking. I worked at a car dealership when I quit smoking. Everybody smokes there, okay? I used to go to AA meetings. Everyone smokes there too. It's not easy, okay? All these different triggers. So you just have to kind of like expect that. You can't be like waiting for an easy, softer solution, as you might have heard in the meetings. And ironically, you can't wait for that. It doesn't exist. It's hard. Okay, it takes real strength. It actually does take willpower, big time. But if you can just hold on for a little while, whatever you gotta tell yourself, whatever reason you have to like do to get yourself to hold on for a short period of time, you'll experience the ceasing of the intensity and the frequency of the cravings. And then you get a little bit of confidence. You say, okay, I see where this is heading. This is actually heading to an easier time. It's not always going to be a struggle. That's why it's so hard for people to quit. They quit, and their first hour or 2 days, they see how sucky it is. They see how much they're craving. They see how intense it is, and they say, wow, I could never sustain this. It's just a matter of time, so fuck it. I'm just gonna, what's the big deal? But that's not the reality, guys, and you know this. Remind yourself that it's not always hard. It's not always a battle. It gets easier, a lot easier, okay? So if you can just keep reminding yourself that it is hard now. I just quit yesterday. What do you expect? But I know it's going to get easier, and it will, okay? So that's how you stop. There's no easy way. I don't have a special affirmation or a mantra or yoga routine that can help you stop. You just gotta stop, man. You have plenty of reasons right now. Don't listen to that bullshit that you need to hit a bottom. How many bottoms do you need to hit? That's the question. That's only something you can answer. If you're watching this video, that means you want to quit. That means you've had plenty of bottoms, okay? Now, how to stay stopped, that's a whole nother story. That also takes willpower, and that also takes strength. And there's also no easy solution. Here's what worked for me. Here's a pattern I noticed very quickly. What happened to me is I went to about a half a dozen rehabs, and I like relapsed pretty quickly after every single one. There was one of them, which I've talked about before, where I had like a divine encounter. I'm talking a real divine encounter. I'm talking like I talked to an angel in like a near-death experience type scenario that I just sapped into in a heavenly realm, okay? It was legit. It blew my mind. And I thought in that moment, wow, how could I ever go back in light of what I just experienced? And yet I did. So anyway, I was like, where am I going with that? So finally I got in trouble with the law. My buddy got pulled over and we had dope on us and we like went to jail for a little while. Not long, just like a night basically. But then I had to go to court and I started accumulating very real consequences to my childish and addictive behaviors, okay? And at that point I really wanted to stop, but I tried so many times. There's other times I really wanted to stop too and I just couldn't. I knew I wanted to stop but I just couldn't. So I had the idea to fly to a halfway house down in Boca Raton, Florida, far away from all my like influences, and it just seemed kind of nice. It was the fall, and I know Boca's nice, so I just went down there. And I noticed that almost everybody there, they didn't really want to change, and I discovered it's because they didn't want to accept their situation. They've dug themselves into a hole. Me too. And it's hard for the mind to accept the hole you're in. And they didn't want to accept it. So they just kind of like, they put it out of their mind, and then their old behaviors would pick up. And it wouldn't start with drugs. They'd start becoming fiends with energy drinks and chain smoking cigarettes and slamming coffee, all day. And then they'd get bored and they'd want to go out and they'd go out to the clubs and stuff. And then after that, it escalated. They would want to pick up like escorts and hookers and stuff. They're pretty big down there. And then before you know it, give them a bad day in conjunction with going out and into that scene. It's a matter of time, man. You can't, it's inevitable. But what I did, I saw this happening very rapidly. There was like 300 people. My first day I got there, everyone was talking about someone who blew his brains out with a shotgun the day before, and they're like, oh, you got to go in the apartment there. You see the blood stain. They couldn't even clean it. It's just like, I was like, holy shit. It blew my mind. I was like 18 years old. Yeah, I was like 18 years old at the time, dude. 18, 19. And I made the decision right there that I'm not doing what these guys are doing, because clearly it's not working. The percentage of the success rate was just horrible at this place. It was like a very kind of a dysfunctionally ran place, but it doesn't matter. I still made do. And what I did the opposite of what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was join these guys. I wanted to go party. I wanted to go, play around at the clubs and see all the hot Boca chicks and whatnot. But I just did the opposite of everything that came naturally to me. And what did I do? I started hanging out with old-time boring AA people. I go to the meetings with all the teenagers and adolescents. I go like the older crew, and I would sit there and I'd follow them along, a little puppy. And fortunately, in making these decisions, I attracted to myself positive people in my life. I don't believe that was an accident. I had the vibration of desire to change, and I stuck with it long enough till I finally met some really amazing friends and then I had this bond of people. And essentially what I'm getting at is I embraced the self-discovery process. Where everyone resists it, they don't want to accept it, they don't want to do it, it's too painful. I embraced it. I ran. I would wait for a massive issue to surface, and I would dig into that shit. I would meditate on it, I'd journal about it, I'd write about it, I'd talk about it until it was resolved. And I had that that ferocity, that just bold mentality, that tenaciousness. You need that. It's a battle. It's not easy. It's not just, allow it to just resolve. No, good luck. Okay, I wouldn't apply the law of attraction to this. You gotta fucking be tough. And then as you do that, as you embrace it just for a little while, you'll start to experience the change it has on you. You'll start to walk differently. Your head is no longer so sunken, and you start to kind of walk with more pride. You get to attract positive experiences into your life, or you will land a good job. It works that way. That's how it worked for me anyway, and I believe it'll work for anybody. That's kind of the law of attraction at work without even having to really think about it too much. You just be positive, do well, go forth in the discovery process, unload your issues as they come up, face them like a man, but just face them with courage. Don't puss out and it's too painful, I need to go drink. No, sorry, then you'll never get it if you can't man up. Okay? And when I say embrace, I took this to the extreme. I woke up every day, I had a specific routine I would do. I would drink my coffee, and I had like 5 books I would read. All of them like daily meditations and prayers, and I would journal, and I would set my intentions. I did all this like spiritual type stuff without even knowing it. And I would do things that were very hard for me. I was incredibly shy and very reclusive, and I couldn't stand being in social situations, but I would put myself in them anyway because I didn't want to be like that anymore. So I would go and try to get a job interview and whatnot. And I would just do my best. I put myself out there, and I eventually got a good job. I met some good people. I kept working on myself, and it just, eventually you come so far to where the decision to go back is a no-brainer. But when you stay the same dysfunctional, unhappy, discontent person who runs from all their issues, it's just a matter of time. I've seen people white knuckle that shit for years, decades, and it just takes one real tragedy. It happens sometimes, and then it's like they were never clean. But if you build up such momentum, such true inner peace that you don't have to go back, it becomes easy. But it's hard in the beginning. And for a little while there, you gotta be tough, you gotta embrace the change, you gotta embrace yourself, you gotta embrace all your fears, run in the direction of your pain and find out why it's there. And as you uncover it, you will have unraveled a massive onion of source of your addiction. And then once that's gone, it's easy.